we need to understand not what an amassing of man's knowledge says in a book called the DSM-5 to help with mental issues. We need to understand what God says about mental issues, and He does say a lot. This is Dr. Charles Hodges, a medical doctor, helping us to be wise. We don't want to be the people who goes, well, every single mental and emotional issue, that's all it is. It's a sin issue. There can never be any physical maladies that accompany it or maybe even cause it. We need to be wise and understand there is a relationship. Now, it's not the same relationship the DSM-5 describes, but there is a relationship between physical and emotional issues.
There is today a major argument about whether or not all the diagnoses in the DSM are really illnesses. And miraculously, the church isn't in it. I always thought we were good at arguing. On one side of the argument are sincere clinicians who see all inconvenient behavior, difficult thinking, and distressing emotions as biological neurochemical brain disorders. They are, for the most part, physicians and psychiatrists. And in the other corner are psychologists and social workers who think that much of the problems that we see in the DSM have explanations that do not require a disease label. They would say that these problems could be dealt with better by just talking with someone who understands. Jerome Wakefield and Alan Horowitz, in their book, The Loss of Sadness, made an excellent case for the idea that 90% of those who are diagnosed with depression each year do not have a medical disease, but instead are struggling with normal sadness over loss.
Well then, that's a wee bit controversial. Did you hear that number? 90% of people diagnosed through the secular DSM-5 would say you've got some sort of mental illness. If you are sad, you have sorrow, you're feeling depressed. 90%. Now, having heard that, let's remember that there can be 10% who actually do have some sort of connection with their physical bodies and their emotions that might be causing one to affect the other. And you and I, as Christians, we can and we need to know the difference.